Now it's time to talk about what we don't want to see in your diaries. I will tell you about some things which are no more than a useless waste of time. Nonetheless, a lot of your predecessors were doing it, so I have to tell you about it. Reflective diary isn't about collecting all possible facts. For example, there is no point in writing all specifications of the equipment or writing about everything you saw since you woke up, what you ate on breakfast, how many reindeers you encountered during the fieldwork, or, of course, if your fieldwork is not connected with the reindeers. What means the transportation you were using, and what are their technical specifications. Making observation is useful. You should be making useful observations of something meaningful and reflecting upon it. But you shouldn't be trying to describe everything you see at any given moment of time. Reflective writing is not about it. While making observations and writing about them, trying to explain to yourself why those observations are important and what do they mean to fieldwork. So some students are writing about certain problems they have experienced and describing them, then suddenly switching to something else, completely forgetting about those things that they were writing and never continuing their line of thinking. As if every few hours they lose their memory and start from their life from the beginning, like nothing happens before. So what we find in their diaries are just basic descriptions of some problems with little to no reflection about their causes, the impact and consequences, and also the actions that were undertaken to solve their problems and the results of such actions. We want you to maintain the line of thinking leading from your experiences to the conclusions about those experiences. We don't want you to be jumping from one thing to another and abandoning each line of thinking without reaching any conclusions. Students with such problem may have difficulties with using their experiences for making informed choices about their further actions based on their conclusions from their previous experiences. We don't want everyone's diary to be the same, and you shouldn't reflect about something only because other people are doing that. And there is no perfect formula that everyone should follow. So don't try to replicate anything. Feel free to choose and develop your own perspective. Your experience will most likely be different from the experience of other students. Different things are challenging to different people. What is a problem for someone may not be a problem for you at all. Try to focus on your own experience and learn from it. Remember that what you're doing here, you aren't doing it for us, you're doing it for yourself, to become a professional. So your goal should not be trying to write something that we will like. Your goal should be to write things that you can learn from. So you shouldn't pretend that you never experience any problems. Never get confused and know everything about everything. Nobody expects this from you. Actually, what we expect here is quite the opposite. So please don't behave as if you're a dog in the pack. Reflecting about many problems doesn't mean that you're weak as a student. It actually means that you're good because the whole point of fieldwork is exposing you to the reality with all its challenges and uncertainties, so you can learn from it. If you ignore or hide your problems as a student, they will follow you in your professional life. this is not something that you want, and this is bad for you, this is bad for us, and this is bad for your future employers. So this is bad for the society. Unis has already tried to introduce reflective writing during the fieldwork in some of its courses some time ago. But this attempt was not very successful. Less attention was paid to actually teaching students how to reflect and explaining them why it's important. It was also less clear how to do the assessment of their reflective writing. At the end, we got some diaries full of jokes, sarcasm, and irony, but without reflection itself. Maybe some students felt that they are forced to participate in something that they didn't fully understand. So they probably tried to protect against it by writing what they thought was fun stuff in their diaries instead of reflection. Without understanding the importance of reflection for your development and its role in your professional life after the graduation, it's easy to start thinking that what we are doing here is a boring formality, while it's actually not. That's why we decided to help you as much as possible by explaining the role and the importance of reflection during the fieldwork, and providing you with tools and practices for visualization that can make reflective writing much easier. Some of you may end up being frustrated and overwhelmed with learning activities. If it happens and if you feel that reflective writing isn't going quite well, just contact me and share your concerns so we could figure out a solution that can actually help you. Nothing goes as planned during the fieldwork, so there is simply no point in making strict, rigid plans and sticking to it. Such approach is not feasible, so you should adjust your plans based on your reflection. More experienced, more flexible and realistic your plans are. It's always better to consider several alternative options of how situations can develop, and then choose the one and develop it further in your fieldwork. But even such flexible planning is not completely proof to unforeseen events. So you should be ready to adjust your actions based on your reflection about what is happening.